Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a great week so far. Today, I want to talk about normal sleep. What is normal sleep? Now, people who sleep well don't even have to think about this, right? They just close their eyes, they fall asleep quickly, and the next thing they know, it's morning and they are awake. And it really should be that easy. But for those of us with sleep issues who've had sleep issues, you know that sleep isn't always that easy. You either can't fall asleep or you're lying awake for hours in the middle of the night. You're wired even though you're exhausted. So, we need to know what normal sleep is. You need to understand how sleep works to be able to sleep great again. Because a lot of sleep is mental. And so, if you're thinking that something is abnormal or weird with your sleep, it might actually not be. And good sleepers might have some of the same experiences with sleep that you do. They just don't think much about it. So, first of all, let's talk about the two body systems that actually make us sleep. So, the first one is our biological circadian clock, our body clock, our circadian rhythm. And it gets most of its cues from light and food. So, this is why there's a lot of talk about blue light and dimming lights before bed and getting bright light in the morning because this actually helps set our body clock. It turns out that we live in these 24-hour days, but our individual body clock isn't necessarily 24 hours. Some are a little bit less, some are a little bit more. And so we need these cues, these external cues, to keep our body clocks in check. So, what's supposed to happen is when the sun sets, your body starts to produce melatonin. And this hormone has a relaxing effect, which can make you feel sleepy and ready for bed. It doesn't actually make you fall asleep, but it sets you up for sleep. But if you surround yourself with bright artificial lights and blue light from screens, your body's still going to think it's daytime and it's not going to release melatonin. So, it's not going to get you ready for sleep. Now, what happens in the morning, in the early morning hours, your body begins to release cortisol. And this actually wakes you up and gives you energy throughout the day. And your circadian rhythm doesn't stay steady all day long. Instead, it peaks and dips. It's kind of on a little bit of a roller coaster. And so there is a natural dip in the afternoon, in that early afternoon, that explains why you might feel tired at that time and why so many cultures take a nap at that time. Now, the second system that regulates sleep is your sleep wake homeostasis, or this is what is responsible for your sleep drive. So, the longer you're awake, the stronger the drive for sleep becomes because this hormone called adenosine builds up in your body throughout the day. And eventually, you feel as though you can fight it no longer and you need to sleep. And then during sleep, this need dissipates. So when you wake up, you don't feel the need to sleep anymore. And that's because adenosine is cleared from your body. So I have quite a few people who ask me why they don't feel sleepy anymore. And this can happen when your gut isn't healthy and it's not able to produce this adenosine that makes us sleepy at night. So it's definitely a clue that something's going on in your gut there. So I like to talk about sleep drive like imagine you're wearing a backpack. So as the day wears on, you're going to collect a brick for every 2 hours you're awake. And so when you go to bed at night, you're tired because you have this very heavy backpack. And then if you get the sleep you need, then you wake up with an empty backpack. And so this leads to this concept called sleep debt. So, sleep debt is the amount of sleep your body needs minus the amount of sleep you actually get. So, let's say that you need 8 hours of sleep a night and your body only gets 6 hours of sleep a night. You have 2 hours of sleep debt the next morning. So, you're adding two more bricks to your backpack. It doesn't just disappear, it accumulates every day. And so, then if you sleep 6 hours a night, Monday through Friday, you accumulate 10 hours of sleep debt that pretty much becomes impossible to make up over the weekend. And as you continuously accumulate sleep debt, then certain systems in your body start to break down and don't function as well, or you'll get sick and you're going to be forced to rest. Now, let's talk about the stages of sleep, and I think this will be really helpful so you know what's normal. So, we experience two stages of sleep. There's REM sleep, or that rapid eye movement sleep, and then there are three different stages of non-REM sleep. So, stage one of non-REM sleep is this transition between being awake and asleep. And during those first few minutes of light sleep, your body temperature drops, your breathing slows, your heart rate decreases. You may not even think you're sleeping, even though if you were in a sleep lab doing a test, the EKG would show with your brain waves that you are asleep. So this happens to me every once in a while when, say, my husband nudges me and tells me I'm snoring, and I tell him I wasn't even asleep yet. I felt like I was awake, but you're really in this kind of in-between stage. Now then next comes stage two non-REM sleep. And this is the first true stage of sleep, but it does continue to be light sleep until you fall into deeper sleep. And if someone woke you up during this stage of sleep, there's a 50% chance that you would tell them that you weren't even sleeping yet. So a lot of people who struggle to sleep think that they're awake when they're actually in the second stage of sleep. So this is why we tend to miscalculate how much we're actually sleeping and how much sleep we're getting, because you can think, oh, I've been awake for 2 hours, but really you might have been in this stage two, lighter stage of sleep for some of that. So you might actually be getting more rest than you think you are. Now, stage three, non-REM sleep, that is the slow wave or deep sleep. And this is the most restorative stage. It's where your body repairs itself. And it's also where your brain stores memories and information from the day. Now, you spend more time in this stage at the beginning of the night. And that's why most people think that they sleep better the first part of the night. It's because they are sleeping deeper from a sleep stage perspective. Now then after that non-REM sleep, then we fall into REM sleep. This is that rapid eye movement stage, that dream stage, because most of our dreams happen in this state. And your brain is really active in this stage of sleep. It's processing emotions, it's connecting information that have been consolidated during deep sleep. And we spend more time in REM sleep the second half of the night. So that's why people tend to think that they slept more restlessly toward morning. But it could more be that they're just in and out of this dream state. And it's also why we tend to wake up remembering our dreams, especially in the morning. So all of that is normal. Now, we cycle through these sleep stages about every 90 minutes. And so technically no one sleeps through the night, because we partially wake up as we transition from one sleep cycle to the next. It's called partial arousals. So you may or may not remember these awakenings, but this is when you tend to change positions, or it's when you get up and go to the bathroom. It's when you're transitioning from one sleep stage to the next. So it actually is normal to kind of wake up, come to the surface, and then go back to sleep. Now, obviously, it's not normal if you're waking up all the way and not able to go back to sleep for a long time. Then that's definitely not ideal. So this should explain why it's normal to feel a little bit tired after lunch, to take a few nights to make up for missed sleep. It's because of that sleep debt that we accumulate over time. It also explains why we tend to misjudge how long we sleep, because sometimes we're in those lighter stages of sleep and we think that we aren't sleeping, but we are. And it explains why you feel like you sleep better the first half of the night and more restlessly toward morning. All of that is actually normal. So understanding this is definitely one of the first steps to getting better sleep and to knowing whether your sleep is normal or not. So if you are taking more than 5 to 10 minutes to fall asleep, if you're waking up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep, if you're waking up too early in the morning, and pretty much if you're feeling tired the next day, if you aren't waking up refreshed with energy, then that is when you're having issues with sleep. And yes, it's very important to start with all the basics of avoiding blue light at night, not drinking caffeine too late in the day, all of those things that you already know about. But if those things aren't helping, and if supplements aren't helping, and if sleep meds aren't helping, or you don't want to be on sleep meds, then it's because there's something deeper going on. There's something going on in your body that is keeping you awake. And if your body's releasing cortisol at night, then that can keep you in these lighter sleep stages too, and cause you either to wake up or to be in those lighter sleep stages and not feel very rested in the morning. All right. Thank you for listening, and definitely get in touch if you have any questions or if you want to talk about your sleep. I always am wishing you a good night's sleep.